Wow, Pharaoh was so stubborn and so disobedient that God had to send 10 plagues before he would finally let Moses and his people go. Did you know that the videos that we watch called God's Story are actually about stories taken straight from the Bible? In Exodus, in In Exodus, the Bible talks about the 10 plagues. First, the Lord told Moses, "Go and tell Pharaoh, let my people go." And when Moses went to tell Pharaoh, Pharaoh said, "No, I won't." So then God sent down the plague of blood, and the river was full of blood for 7 days. And then Pharaoh said, "I still will not let your people go." So then God sent a plague of frogs, and there were frogs everywhere. And so Pharaoh said, "Moses, please tell your God to take the frogs away." And Moses said, "Okay, I will if you let our people go." "Okay, I will, I will." But you know what? He didn't. So then God sent the plague of gnats. And gnats are like little tiny biting flies, and they were all over Pharaoh and all of his people. And even Pharaoh's magicians tried to copy and do the same thing, but it didn't work. So then God had to send a plague of flies, and the flies covered everything. And Pharaoh said, "Moses, Moses, tell your God I'm sorry, stop. Tell him to stop, and I'll let your people go." And so Moses said, "Okay, but don't lie to me." And Pharaoh said, "I won't." And so guess what happened? Moses asked God to take the flies away, and he did. And Pharaoh said, "I'm not letting your people go." And so then God sent the plague against all the livestock. Livestock are like the cows and the goats and the pigs. And he just killed all their farm animals. And Pharaoh was very upset about that. And he said, "Please, Moses, tell your God to stop." And Moses, he didn't think Pharaoh was telling the truth. But he said, "Okay." They stopped. Pharaoh said, "I'm not letting your people go." So then God sent the plague of boils. Those are like really painful sores that are all over your body. And that's when Pharaoh said, "Okay, okay, okay, okay." But again, he didn't. He hardened his heart, and he just wouldn't let Moses and his people go. So God had to send 2 more plagues. He sent the plague of hail, like big hailstones that damaged everything. And he sent a plague of locusts. You know what locusts are? They're like giant grasshoppers, and they eat everything. So that means they ate all of their corn and all of their wheat, so that all of their food was gone for that season. Finally, God sent the plague of darkness, and it was dark for days and days. They couldn't see anything. There was no sunlight to warm the fields. There was no sunlight so they could do work or anything. It was just completely dark. And when Moses went to ask Pharaoh if he would let the people go, and Pharaoh said no one last time, then the Bible says that God said, "Okay, then what we're going to do is all the firstborn sons of Pharaoh and his people are going to die." And that's when the Bible told Moses and his people to put the blood above the door from the lamb, and then the death would pass over them and not touch their sons, but only go to Pharaoh's sons. And that was how Pharaoh finally said, "Okay, get out." And Moses and his people, they left, and they started heading to the promised land.